humility is something that many critics tend to lack. Cartoon critics, movie critics, game critics. Because the thing about these people is that they can point out all the writing issues, the animation issues, all that kind of good stuff. And trust me, I do this. I do the same thing as well. Everybody does, I think. But at the end of the day, you have to have a sense of humility because there's a strong possibility that you will never create something, at least create something that's memorable or sold millions. I'm not trying to say that you need to be a creator or a successful creator to criticize stuff, but just remember who you are. Like, have a sense of humility and be humble. For example, right? Let's go to my games list. Come on, work. Hopefully, I can find it immediately. Let's see. Oh, The Last of Us 2. For example, right? I really hate this game's narrative. Oh, come on, pop up already. Jesus Christ. Slow ass loading screens. But anyway, I really hate The Last of Us 2. Well, the gameplay is actually fun, outside of the long ass, boring walking segments. But from a story point of view, this game is just awful. It starts off okay with Ellie, but then it got progressively worse as you play as Abby, who has a way more boring, generic story arc, and more or less gets away scot free after, doing a bunch of horrible stuff. I really don't like this game. I feel like the story is. Well, I already mentioned the story, but I feel like the narrative is pretentious, and also the characters, especially from Abby's side, are really boring. Her story has some of the most boring side characters I've ever seen in a video game. And trust me, I played a lot of games, you know. Like, Abby's story doesn't have interesting characters like Red Dead Redemption 2 or The Witcher 3 or any Yakuza game. But despite my grievances with The Last of Us 2, I can still acknowledge, or I'm still willing to acknowledge that, yeah, I will most likely never create something as impactful as The Last of Us 2. The game has made a lot of people happy. A lot of people surprisingly like the game for some reason. And, it sold 10 million plus copies. It is one of the most successful video games in human history. Like, it's not like Minecraft level sales or anything like that, but 10 million copies, that's more copies sold than many other games. That's more copies sold than Metal Gear Solid 5 or any of the other Metal Gear Solid games. And yeah, I wish the best for the creators of The Last of Us, since they haven't really done anything illegal or bad. They just made a bad story and some bad characters. And even then, I have to accept the fact that this isn't objective. This is just my own, opinion. So yeah, that's what I want to say. Like, I think that's a big problem with a lot of critics is that they put themselves on a very high pedestal. They put their subjective opinion on some sort of, like, I don't know how to describe it. They want to make their opinion seem like fact is what I'm saying. And you shouldn't do that because, that's very pompous and pretentious and kind of cringe because, let's face it, nobody in real life really cares about your opinion on video games or any kind of media. It's just random strangers on the internet. Maybe you should go out and get some friends or something like that if you're in this situation and mindset.